Hello, happy holidays, everyone. Welcome to Let's Get Spiritual. I am your hostess, Fluidgirl. Oh my, yes, new followers. Yes, I just got a message from someone. When you're a new follower with Twitch, they won't let you talk. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I'm sorry that you're having to deal with that, Katie. Either way, welcome. I'm going to take my headphones off. Let me know if you can hear me okay, and if the music isn't too loud. And yes, I do realize that I am part of the visuals in the background, apparently in my head. So I'm running a green screen, and obviously my hat is green. So you're going to see a little bit of me being a part of the whole scenario going on behind me. But welcome. Thank you for being here. Happy holidays. I hope that your holiday season so far has been okay. It hasn't been too stressful. We just came out of eclipse season, which was 2 weeks of a lot of chaos. And yeah, it was personally pretty intense for me. Hi, Tawny. Oh, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Yay. Tawny, meet Katie. She's kind of in the background. She will chat later, but yeah. So anyway, I'm so glad you're here too, Tawny, and happy holidays. I am, have a partial green screen head, so please don't mind. Oh, I don't know if you see my bell. Yes, I have a bell on my hat, my little elf hat. But anyhow, thank you for being here. Welcome to Let's Get Spiritual. If you're popping on for the first time or watching this in the pre-recorded version, thank you. This talk will be archived for 2 weeks on Twitch, although it is also on YouTube, and I'll post my YouTube a little bit later, and then on Facebook Live. So if you are a friend of mine on Facebook, this will be archived for who knows how long. So if you want to go back and revisit it, you can. Tonight's talk will be pretty juicy. It's called Reframing 2021 and Reframing Your Thoughts for 2022. I thought that this would be a good thing to talk about for the end of the year, because I just have found that this particular tool of reframing has been very, very powerful for me. And I wanted to share it with those of you who've never actually heard of this. Oh, thank you, Tawny. You're amazing. And by the way, when you guys talk and you have comments, I do have a 20-second delay. It's only something that I set up with Twitch. So if I don't respond to you right away, it's just because there's a slight delay, like 20 seconds. But I promise I will comment because I have an eye on what you guys are saying. So, and I know more people will be popping on later. It's there's a lot going on for people. But anyway, thank you all for being here. And yeah, so this talk tonight is a juicy one. And I found that this tool, when I learned it years ago in my holistic health course that I took back in 2000, I don't remember, 2009 maybe I graduated. God, so long ago. It was really profound for me, and learning how to reframe my thoughts and turn things around in a broader perspective. So I definitely thought that this would be good to share with everyone tonight, especially since last year, obviously when the pandemic kicked in, it was pretty intense. We are all kind of shell-shocked, and the pandemic is still here. It's shifting in form, but we are not out of it yet, y'all, and we're going into our second year with it, and in 2022. So I just wanted to share this viewpoint with you all tonight as a skill, because this truly is a skill, and a skill is something that you practice over time. And you like my Hanukkah and my Christmas tree. I'm trying to support everybody. But yeah, this is a skill that can be applied, and the more you practice it, the more I found that when I practice it, it really just helps me come out of things faster. It helps me to see things on a bigger scale. So that's what I'm going to be supporting you with tonight. So again, thank you for being here. And for those of you that don't know me, and if you're listening to this, again, pre-recorded, or you're popping in for the first time, welcome. My name is Fluidgirl, and on my channel, I do this talk once a month. It's called Let's Get Spiritual. We do different topics every month. And yeah, it's just a really fun time for me to share some of the skills that I've learned over the years as a clairvoyant, a spiritual teacher, and a healer that I've been for almost 20 years. So I love to teach, I love to share, I love to support people. And if you need a reading, please let me know. I do have readings that I'm booking in January. The end of the year has been a little cray-cray because of family visiting and all kinds of travel and stuff that we've got going on. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. This is kind of those. So I am booking for January and into 2022 for readings. So if you'd like a reading, please let me know. Other than that, welcome. And I do, like I said, a talk, Let's Get Spiritual, once a month. And then I also do DJ sets every other Thursday, usually around 7:30. But I realize I might be doing them a little bit later, so I'll keep you posted on that. So if you're not a follower, smash follow so you can see when I pop on and see what I'm doing and what I'm offering, because I have a tendency to offer you some fun stuff. So I hope you can join. So a little background on me, again, if you don't know me that well, I have been a coach, clairvoyant, and healer, like I said, for almost 20 years. I started out as a clairvoyant, went to the Berkeley Psychic Institute in Berkeley, California, and learned how to do psychic readings. And then after that, I transitioned into body work, where I specialized in body energy work at a school called the World School of Massage in San Francisco, where I also took a holistic health course that I did for it was a 9-month course, and I graduated from that again in 2009, and then continued my work into after I did some plant medicine ceremonies and became a sound healer, and it just upped my game with my teaching and workshops and things like that. I've been holding ceremonial groups for quite some time, and since I've become a new mom, I really haven't been able to gather people too much right now, but I plan on doing more of that in 2022, so be on the lookout for that. But my now experience of sharing is through Twitch, so thank you for being here. And tonight we're going to be having a juicy talk. So I am very excited to get going, because I know this is going to be a lot of fun, and I don't want to keep your time too much, because I know time for me is the true value, and I don't want to take up too much of it. And I'm so grateful to all of you that are actually spending time with me tonight, so thank you for that. Okay, so let's get spiritual. So what is the idea of reframing? It's changing how you see your life and your experience, and especially this past year and even prior. So if you want to consider something that you've been going through, let's say for quite some time, like something that happened to you, let's say years ago, or in your lifetime, a long time ago, and you haven't been able to let it go, or there's a reoccurring pattern that shows up for you that is really hard for you to get rid of, or maybe just something that has happened recently that you've been having difficulty with, or maybe even the pandemic. This share tonight that I'm going to be sharing with you in technique is going to be really helpful for you to get a broader perspective of what has been going on for you personally and also collectively. And after everything, we're going to be going into a meditation at the very end, where I'll be teaching you a tool on how you can utilize this idea of reframing as a skill into like a very quick meditation tool. So I'm really excited to share that with you as well. So what are thoughts? Thoughts are ideas created by the mind. Very plain, very simple, right? And how do thoughts make us feel? They make us, thank you, Katie, for letting me know the music is too loud. Okay, you got it. Thank you. Yeah, and if any of you think the music is too loud or anything is going on, please let me know in the comments. I just got a message from Katie. Thank you for that. Okay, turning that down. Okay, let me just check with my earphones real quick. There, that might be better. Okay, and Katie, just shoot me another text and let me know if the music is too loud or if that got better, or any of you who are listening. Okay, great. Thank you, Tawny. Thank you for that. Okay, yeah, I do have a 20-second delay, so I'm just going to turn down just a hair more. All right. So anyway, getting back to it, so how do thoughts make us feel? Thoughts make us feel positive. So they make us feel positive, which is good, or negative, which is bad, right? And again, there's really no judgment in any of this. It's just experiences that we have relating to the thoughts that we have that can create certain sensations, certain moods, certain responses to what's going on in our mind. And negative thinking and how it affects our mood and experience of life is, what can happen to us on a daily, multiple, triple, quadruple times a day, right? We have thousands of thoughts that happened all the time, and thousands of, maybe not thousands, but quite a bit of responses and feelings about these thoughts. And especially if you have an experience that really bothered you, or something that's coming up for you currently in your life, it may carry with it, a theme of a mood that you're experiencing on a consistent basis. And so learning this technique would be really beneficial to help you move on from carrying that emotion with you throughout your day. Maybe it turns into weeks to months, maybe even years for some people. So My intention tonight is to support you with coming out of that a lot faster. So what happens actually? So thoughts lead to emotions, and then emotions lead to reactions or actions in life. So when you have a thought about something, someone, some experience, it creates an emotion inside of you. Let's say, someone pulls out in front of you, okay? And you have a thought like, oh, that MF. And then you get angry, right? And let's say you speed up and you try and go to that person, or you're like shaking your fist at them, okay? That's an idea of like what can happen when you have a thought and then an emotion and then a reaction or action in life, and how it can cascade, and then that can cascade throughout your day. Maybe you're complaining with people about it, it just ruins your whole month, you just never know how these things can go. And then, using this tool, sometimes it can help you pull yourself out of it a lot faster, so you can become conscious again and to move forward in a way that's more empowering to you. So what I'm really talking about is becoming conscious, right? So a question that you can ask yourself, and if you're a journaler, I wanted to mention that journaling about stuff like this and asking these kinds of questions is going to be really, really helpful to you, especially if you have reoccurring emotions or reoccurring thoughts around things that are just not supportive to you. Oh, I just got a new follow. Just want to plug. Thank you, Jenny. Welcome, welcome. I hope that you're able to watch. I know that some people are new and having a little difficulty chatting. So if you want to send me a message, Jenny, through my phone, and you want to, if you have a question about something, please feel free to do that, as well as you, Katie, because I know that you need a little bit of a buffer before you can chat on Twitch. And if you're just joining, welcome to Fluidity. This is Fluidgirl for Let's Get Spiritual, and we're talking about reframing your thoughts for 2021 and into 2022. So going back into what I was saying, if you like to journal, or if you like to process, like whatever it is that you like to, however you like to process, like for me, I'm giving the example of journaling. I find for me, that's a really valuable tool. And if you think about something that comes up for you quite often, or just an experience that you may have had, and you're like, what the heck was that about? I was so angry for so long, I just couldn't shake it off. Like, what was going on there? One question that you can ask yourself is this a normal response? So what is your normal response to life and things that happen in your life that are uncomfortable? Do you normally have a reaction where you like throw something? Do you feel angry? Do you get sad? Do you retreat? So these are things, and these are all just examples. So you can just sit with that a little bit, and whenever I ask that question, what was the first thing that popped into your mind? I always like to say that to people when I'm coaching them or supporting them on a healing level is, when a question is asked, always trust your intuition with the first thing that pops in, because our brain likes to overanalyze and to recheck everything and overthink things, and usually your first response is the correct one. So again, what is your normal response to life and things that happen that are uncomfortable for you? Okay? So do you have, let's say, a victim mentality? Meaning, do you feel completely disempowered, like you have no control? Okay? Or are you empowered? And how do you balance both of them? So how do you learn and become conscious of your responses? And then how can you pull yourself out of them quicker, rather than being in them for hours or days or months or years, okay? And there's no right or wrong if this happens to you. It's just becoming more conscious and more conscious and more conscious and more empowered with how you want to create your life and how you want to move forward. And how do you balance the idea of, having your response and being okay, really, with how you respond? Because there are things that happen in our life. Our first teachers are our parents and our guardians. How did they respond to life? Maybe even your ancestors. Do you know about your ancestral lineage? Do you know about what happened in their lives and how they responded? So these are things to become aware of, so for you it can possibly get passed down, and especially if you know your guardians or your parents, how they responded to life can be carried over to you, because they, like I said, they are your first teachers. So first and foremost, forgive them if there's something that you experienced with them that was very uncomfortable, or like a pattern of responding that you received from them was not necessarily what you want to create. Bravo, because now you're in a state right now, especially listening to this talk, where you are becoming more conscious about how you can respond. So here to you. Hats off. Okay, I would take my hat off, but then It wouldn't work with my elf hat. So, yeah, again, just becoming conscious. And another thing that I just want to say that is kind of like the plug of reframing is, what is the benefit of how you responded or even what happened? This is the gem of reframing, because this is where, let's say, for instance, if you have a pattern of being a victim and like something that happens for you reoccurring, or like your normal response is to be victimized, what is the benefit of that? What have you been learning about victimization? What is it about the victim that is that draws you into it? Does it teach you, about, let's say, for instance, being disempowered? Because when I learned this idea in coaching, it was like a mind, I would say a cuss word, but I don't know if I should do that. But it was a mind, okay, for me, because I was like, wait a minute. And this was years ago when I was doing my training. I was like, what do you mean there's a benefit? What is the benefit of something negative happening to me? I just couldn't wrap my head around it, because I personally grew up around people that were victimized, and that was meaning that that was their idea. And so I grew up like that. That was one of my first responses, was very disempowered, sort of victimized. And that question in itself, when I learned it, it completely neutralized, for me, the victim. Because what does it do? Number one, it brings you into consciousness. And number two, it brings all your power back. Because if you think about it, we're incredible beings. We come from source, and we are source. Yeah, we are source. So the benefit on some level is that source is getting to experience itself through us, even through victimization. And then when you become victimized and then you become conscious of that and then go, wow, okay, what's the benefit of that? That's a juicy growth experience for you and even for source. So this is about thinking bigger, okay? And the idea of reframing, and why I brought in that aspect of, so you are source, and source is experiencing your life through you. And when you have these really juicy experiences where you become so contrasted from a way of being, that's really juicy for you and really juicy for source, okay? And again, this is a bigger, broader perspective, okay? And I think moving into 2022, I have just been personally reminded, and why I wanted to share this actual topic tonight, of to think bigger. And, if those of you are aligned or pay attention to, the ages that we're in, there's an age of, we're going into, and have been, I think, since 2012, the age of Aquarius, which is more about the collective rather than the individual. And when you, on some level, become a broader observer, or broader, take a broader perspective, it takes you into that idea. It takes you into what we're all doing together. Not only, when we have a personal experience, it sends out a ripple into the collective consciousness, but then also when we are able to step out of our situations and to even look at the benefit of what's going on, even if it's negative, then it can bring in a whole new frame of mind, and that's called reframing. So that's just what I wanted to plug, that this is the juicy, juicy little meat of it. So one thing that you can write in your journal after you had that first question that I mentioned, when you write out a scenario, okay, of like what's been happening for you, maybe it's something recent, maybe even the pandemic, okay, or maybe an issue that happened to you long time ago, maybe even a trauma. Again, and it can be hard to ask this question when it's, traumatic. What is the benefit? And I know this is a hard one, because when it's traumatic, it's really hard to bring in this perspective. So invite it in gently for yourself, okay? And if you can explore any tiny, minute aspect to that, it's very, very, very empowering, okay? So again, be gentle with yourselves. This can be a big thing to, reset your mind in this way, especially if you've never explored reframing. And again, for me, when I first learned this, it was a big, it was really big for me. So especially that question, what is the benefit that I'm receiving from all of this? And, one of the things that I have been learning over the years, and I've been actually practicing more often because recently I just went through, kind of a difficult emotional experience through the eclipse time the past few weeks ago. I really was in it. I was feeling really uncomfortable and just, just feeling the discomfort in my body and emotionally and judging a bunch of stuff in my head. And you know what we do? Of course we judge. We're human. Of course we do. Judging myself and the experience of what I was going through. And I found myself saying thank you and making myself say thank you, even if it's uncomfortable. Because I know on some level, after all the work that I've done and all the people that I've supported and seeing people through so many difficult situations and going through my own personal journeys with ceremonies and things like that, is that there's way more going on than we know of in our personal experience, and then also how it affects the whole, okay? So that's also another way to reframe, is that when you can look at something negative and say thank you, and to know that when you say thank you, when it's uncomfortable, and when it's dark, and when it's, unpleasant, that is you integrating more of yourself. And that is having, again, a broader perspective, and that's very, 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 very powerful. So, again, another gentle invitation to that idea is that, maybe the next time that you're feeling really, really uncomfortable, or maybe even now, just, inside your heart, or wherever it is in your body, or just, you just want to say it, out loud, or just in your mind, or up to Supreme Being, or God, Source, whatever you call the Creator. Thank you. I know that whatever is going on right now, I know I don't like it, but I understand that something bigger and broader is going on, and that I will find the benefit of it soon. Because, whatever it is that we usually go through, I don't know about you all, but for me, there's always something amazing that comes after. It's like the ebb and flow of life. There's a great spiritual teacher. I love him. His name is Bashar. He's a channel. He's channeled by this guy named Daryl Anka. Highly recommend that you check him out. He talks about the wave of your growth is that some people go, it's up and down and up and down and up and down. And he gives the example that it goes like this rather than this, okay? So you're always going up. Even when you feel uncomfortable, even when the SHIT is hitting the fan, even when you're in a dark night of the soul, you're still moving forward, okay? So if you can understand that and integrate that, that's also another idea of integrating your shadow. And I did a talk on the shadow a few months ago, and it was so powerful for me personally to share that, and other people really enjoyed it. And when you're integrating the shadow, meaning the darker aspects of self that we all have, everybody has it, you allow more of yourself to be expanded, and you can call it enlightenment, just more at peace with yourself. And the shadow, or the dark aspects of self, it just wants to be acknowledged. It just wants to be integrated. It just wants to be accepted. And when you can move into that more, some of these things that kind of get a snag on you, that you kind of hold on to, or you feel like you can't get out of, it gets lighter. So again, if this is a new thing that you're considering, or being, or that you're hearing, this, it's a wonderful thing to lightly practice for yourself. And if you're just joining, welcome to Let's Get Spiritual. This is Fluidgirl for reframing your thoughts in 2021 and 2022. So welcome. Where are we now? Okay, so tapping into what consciousness is. Consciousness, becoming conscious of your thoughts, conscious of your reactions, conscious of what's going on and how it's been hanging on and how you haven't been able to change it. It's responsibility. And what is responsibility? It's the ability to respond. Okay? So the more conscious you become, the more responsibility comes with it. So consciousness takes work. It takes work. It takes a lot of, courage, to be quite honest. It's very easy to be unconscious, but when you start to become more conscious, you can't go back. I don't know about some of you all, but I know for me, once you start getting there and you start becoming more conscious, you can't go back. It's like, okay, once I have learned a certain skill, you can't go backwards. It's your evolution of self, your evolution of energy. Okay, and trust it. If you can, try and fall into the trust of where you are and what's happening for yourself and why. What's the benefit of it? It's a really beautiful way to consider your life and how to move through things moving forward. And I just want to say that there's nothing wrong with feeling victimized. And there's nothing wrong with your responses. Every single one of us is seriously doing the best that we can. Truly. Because you're operating from what you know. And if you're listening to this talk and you're like, oh man, I had this response to this person I shouldn't have done. Don't should on yourself. The shoulds. Don't should on yourself, okay? And I had this thing come up and, I could have done it differently and da-da-da-da-da. It's great to review. And I just invite you to try not to be really hard on yourself and to forgive yourself as much as you can. Because, again, we're all doing the best we can. Like our parents, our guardians, God bless them. Goddess bless them. They did the best that they could. I mean, I used to wrong my mom, my dad, my family, my this, my that. And the more conscious I became, the more I realized, like, they were really doing the best that they could. Okay? So, here to you for listening and to receive as much as you are from what I'm sharing with you tonight and being willing to sit through it and to take it in and to consider some of these things moving forward and how you can, thank you for the follow, Erica. Welcome. And how you can, apply them in your life. Even if it's a small amount, it can make a huge difference, truly. So kudos to you. Just wanted to say that. And another thing I wanted to mention too, I don't know if some of you have heard this term, but in the spiritual community, they talk about spiritual bypassing. And what that actually means is that, you try to positive think everything away and that you don't really give space or acknowledgement to the darkness, the shadow, the uncomfortable feelings, the SHIT, basically. So, it's so funny, I'm so used to spelling out cuss words because of my daughter. And I don't know if there's any kids watching, so I just like to be respectful in that manner. So, I hope you're giggling. Anyway, yeah, so spiritual bypassing is the idea that, you don't give any space to any negativity. Like, no, I shouldn't feel this, I shouldn't feel that. I'm positive. I mean, if you do that, God has bless you. But I'm not really promoting that. I really have a belief that it's very important, and again, this is just my experience and what I like to share and what I share and teach, is that it's very important to acknowledge your feelings, especially the dark ones, because, and I'm only speaking because I'm an American, but in the American culture, we are not taught to express our emotions with clarity. We're taught to shove them down, get busy, who are you in life? What are you achieving? What do you have? That type of thing. So it gets really sort of shoved to the side. And I think now, thank goodness, like so many more of us are becoming conscious, and that more of us are starting to understand that it's very, very, very important for our health even to acknowledge our emotions, because when you can suppress emotions, it can create health issues. I worked with people for years with energy and body work and even doing clairvoyant readings, and this is what I would see consistently over and over and over again, is that when you don't acknowledge your feelings, your emotions, they can, after a while, they can, in some cases, create health issues. And God has blessed your body for being the messenger, because the body's just there to help you. It's just there to let you know, hey, you got something going on here. Let's take a look at it. Okay, it brings your attention into that area. So I just wanted to say, this is not about spiritual bypassing. Reframing is just the idea of seeing the benefit and whatever it is that's happening, not to you, but for you. That's another way to look at it. Okay, that's a reframe right there. And the victim can be, it happened to me. But what if you played with the idea that it happened for you? Yeah. It could happen for you. And what did you gain from it? What kind of wisdom did you gain? What benefit did you receive? Okay? And so kind of tapping back into the idea of when things come up for you, and to acknowledge your feelings and to feel them. It's beautiful to do that, okay? And it's just a question that you can ask yourself: how long do you want to stay in the dark? Okay? Some people stay in the dark for years. Do you want to do that anymore? Do you want to hold on to that situation that happened to you when your boss yelled at you and you had to leave, or you got fired, or unemployment kicked you out and you didn't have unemployment anymore, or the pandemic happened during the time when you were just getting successful? F this, F that, the government's doing this, da 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 da. How long are you willing to stay in that state? And are you willing, okay, to let yourself feel it fully as much as you can, and to get it out as much as you can, but then to move on? Okay? So it's about really giving yourself the acknowledgement of your responses, looking at them, going, oh yeah, okay, this is what I learned from my mom, my dad, whoever, and that my ability to respond. Well, how do I normally respond? Okay, yeah, this way. And what do I want to do now? What is the benefit that I've received from this? What is the wisdom that I am taking from these experiences, from these responses, and how am I moving forward from them? Okay? So let's talk about the idea of being self-responsible. And if anyone has any questions, like I said, there is a 20-second delay, so please be mindful of that if I don't respond to you right away. If anyone has any questions in the meantime, please feel free to post it in the comments on Twitch, and I will take a peek and answer them as soon as I get them. I promise, because I'm kind of watching Twitch. So again, if you're just joining, this is Fluidgirl for Let's Get Spiritual, and we are talking about reframing your thoughts in 2021 and going into 2022. So being self-responsible, what does that really mean? It's consciousness, like we discussed before, being conscious of yourself, your responses, and what happens when you have a thought that leads to an emotion, that leads to an action or a response, or a reaction in some cases. So being self-responsible is having that idea in mind, and it's a lot of work. Trust me, I've been doing it for quite some time. Sometimes it's hard to pull yourself out of stuff, especially when you're triggered. And what triggered means is like when you have a response that's really strong and you just want to react and you want to, it's a trigger. It's hard sometimes to come out of it. Sometimes taking deep breaths and, noticing how you can get snagged into things with other people. Let's say you get into fights, or, there's certain patterns that show up with how you communicate with people, or your partner, or your family, or whoever. Ooh, this is big during holiday time. Stuff can come up for people. This is good to practice with your family. It's wonderful, right? So not throwing your energy around. Pretty plain and simple. Being conscious of how you're feeling. And, again, this is about being self-responsible. So if you're triggered and you're in an argument with someone, or like you get triggered, like, ooh, okay, that really lit up this thing for me. Whew, okay, I'm going to step away for a second. I'm going to tell this person, you know what, I'm really triggered right now. I'm going to step away and take some deep breaths. Or I'm going to go for 5 minutes. I need to reclaim, and then come back, do my little check-in, and then come back and see, like, what is really going on here? And what's the benefit of what's happening here? And how can I consciously move myself forward? Okay? Again, all about reframing. And, being self-responsible is becoming aware of our effects on others and ourselves most of all, and making a choice. When I'm in that argument with that person, I really see how they get really upset and they feel really, not heard by me, and then I become really hard on myself or whatever. And, when you start to reframe, you go, okay, now what's the benefit of that? I'm giving examples. The benefit of that is seeing how much my trigger really upsets this other person and how they get triggered, and it creates this cascade of stuff. And the benefit of that is showing me that I just don't want to do that anymore. It's something that I learned from my parents, for example, or people that I lived with. And I really remember how I felt as a child, and it didn't really feel good, or as an adolescent, or however, whenever it was that you learned this. And what I want to do moving forward, what's the wisdom that I can gain here and move forward from here? Okay, I want to take, so number one, I stepped away. Okay, I took some deep breaths, I reclaimed myself. And then I started to check in with myself. Okay, what do I need? Where am I going to go? How do I want to move through this? Okay, the benefit. Okay, I see that I really want to change this. I really want to listen to this person. I really want to share how I felt, blah, blah, blah. So this is an idea of how you can do a reframe personally in your life. And I know that there's a lot of steps that I just shared there, but the idea is, again, just becoming self-responsible. And this is just the way that I express it and that I share it. And you can, again, if you're a journaler, you can write down, like as a title, how can I become more self-responsible in my responses, and how I can find more wisdom in how I respond to people and situations in my life, or maybe even things that have happened to me in my life previously. Okay? And then, so what does it mean to reframe your thoughts? So basically, on another level of this, it's just becoming more empowered. Because if you're a person that has a normal response of feeling victimized or, just unheard, things like that, how the victim can be very elusive. It can change hats, and you have to be really conscious of that, how it shows up for you. And when you're able to see the benefit of what's going on for you and how it's working for you rather than to you, that's how you can become more empowered. So reframing is very, very, very empowering. It's a very empowering tool. And it shows you how you can take a different perspective and like a broader perspective. And when we do our meditation at the end, we're going to be doing the idea of becoming an observer, like through the eyes of Source. It's a really cool meditation, and it's going to be a little bit longer, but when you learn this technique in the meditation, if you want to apply it moving forward in your life, it can literally be like a 2-minute meditation, okay? So I'm really excited to share this tool because I use it periodically when I really need to see, like on the bigger picture, like what's going on. It's been really, really helpful to me. And it's really interesting to see things that you don't realize are there, okay? So I think I may have already mentioned this, but I just want to keep in step with my notes here. So again, how to reframe your thoughts, getting clear on what they are. I wrote a step-by-step. So here's another example. So let's a step-by-step. So let's say, what happened? Okay, if you're revisiting something that, you've been feeling victimized by or disempowered by, or like something that's happened to you in your life, get real basic. Let's say, this is so funny. I wrote, my foot stepped in the mud. Okay, so someone that, they step in the mud, they're like, oh, my beautiful new shoes, they're ruined. This always happens to me. And they go and they kick the cat, or they, they smash the door. They're like, they get all upset, right? Get really basic. What actually happened? My foot, it stepped in the mud. No emotion there. Just real basic, okay? And then you can check in. What emotion came up? I got really angry, and even resentful maybe. And then I felt really embarrassed. And then how did I react? I yelled and I said, seriously, again, this always happens to me. Again, we're going step by step to really become conscious. Okay, what actually happened? And then, I also shared here, like, the idea of like, oh man, I messed up my shoes. That's happening to you, right? And then you can just, again, with the reframe, how is this happening for me? How could this experience of stepping in the mud have been for me? And this is what I wrote. I was ungrounded when I was walking and not paying attention. I was in my head arguing with someone and that I was angry at. How many of us have done something like that? I know I have. When I've been arguing with someone in my head, and then I trip or I fall or I bang my arm, it's like your body going, hey, wake up, I'm here. Can you get grounded, right? So that's one way that you can look at it, through a reframe. And maybe, those shoes that you got, they didn't feel so good on your feet, or, you paid a little more money for them than you thought that you wanted to, and, you kind of really didn't like them, or, if you can explore it more, you can think of the gift that's in it and the benefit that's in it. Or maybe, you mess up these shoes, but you were flirting with the person at the counter that, that you got these shoes, and you really, really wanted an excuse to go back and see them. And guess what? You got an excuse now. You can show them your shoes. You say, hey, my shoes got messed up. Can I get another pair? Or can I get your phone number? There's always a benefit, even if it's in a minute way, okay? So I just wanted to put that as another example, because it can be a lot of fun to explore the benefits, even if it's something light or silly, like I just explained. So one thing I just want to mention, kind of still staying within this topic, is that, if you look at something significant in your life that happened this past year, or even during the pandemic, let's say you had a loved one pass away. I've had an incredible amount of loss personally over the past 4 years. So many people have been dying around me. It's crazy. I think this kind of happens when you become older. I'm in my mid-40s, and, people start to get older. Your parents are getting older, people are getting older, and, you start seeing it like, oh, okay, yeah, like people are starting to pass. And I know that as you're get much older, like into your 70s, 80s, this starts to happen a little more frequently because the friends that you have, or maybe if you're lucky enough to have like parents at that age, this is the time when they can start passing, So, yeah, it's been happening for me over the past few years. So it's been quite an interesting portal I've been walking through with this death stuff. But what is the benefit? Maybe when that person died, the benefit was it brought a certain aspect of your family closure. Maybe it brought people closer together. Maybe it brought up some negativity or some darkness that was in the family, which can happen. I saw it when my dad died. I saw a lot of darkness come up in a family member. I was like, ooh, wow. And it becomes clear, so there are benefits, and you can acknowledge them, you can see them, and you can move on from them, okay? So that's just an example of something that happened, or something that could have happened for you. Notice how I said for you this year, like if you had a loss, or maybe you had a health issue come up, or someone around you had a health issue come up. What's the benefit of that? And that is the hardest time to do it, when it's hurtful like that, when you see someone that you love or you care for going through a health issue. The benefit sometimes is that it brings people together, it brings community together. You all team up with them to help the other person. Maybe the person goes and they get certain types of healing work, and they get so healed that they're inspired to be a doctor or a healer, or they start talking about it and they help thousands of people, or they post their experience on Facebook, and then it goes viral and it helps all these people. You just never know what happens for you in your life, how it can benefit you. But if you take a broader perspective look as to what I'm offering you tonight, you can see that. So let me just turn my page here and see what else I want to talk to you about. So, okay, this is good. So, this is okay. I love these questions. So here's more questions for your journal. Okay. How can you go into 2022 with the idea of things being a benefit, okay, in your mind and in your heart? How do you think that would change your year that you're going to have next year? If you had the idea that whatever happens in my world is happening for me, it's happening for me personally, and maybe even for the collective, maybe even if it's just from my experience and I see the benefit of it, I send that ripple into the collective consciousness, and it helps people that I don't even know. Okay? How would that change your year? And if you think about 2021, if you had this mindset at the very beginning of 2021, how would that have changed 2021 for you? These are really good things to journal about. What would be different? And not through the realm of judging, okay, but through the realm of perspective, and for awareness, and again, consciousness, and maybe even inspiration. Because if you do take the time to journal about these questions and you have little epiphanies, oh man, what a great gift you give yourself, right? And how you can apply that moving forward. Okay? And then, so let's say this is another thing that I wrote that you can put in your journal. When intense things come up in 2022, how can you be present with your emotional response, validate it, and then reframe it into an empowering experience? Okay? So let's say something happens with our government, which is freaking crazy, okay? Because things are getting crazy out there. There's a lot of stuff coming up. How can you use the idea of how is it working for me, for us, even collectively? And how can I be present with the idea of how it's working for me, and the benefit and the wisdom that I've gained from it, and how can I apply it moving forward? Okay? So the idea, again, is thinking bigger, taking an observer perspective, looking from the eyes of source, or your soul, let's say, okay? Your soul is here, and your body encompasses partially part of your soul. Your soul is so huge, okay? And your body is only, encompassing a little bit of it. And your soul, I just want to say, I've learned this, I've seen it in ceremonies. Our souls love it when we go through really hard experiences, especially ones that are super triggering or really emotional or, very, very uncomfortable. Why? Because it's juicy, juicy, juicy experience. So when, let's say, you have a weather disaster, right? Most people, I would say, maybe not everyone, but most people become extremely present because you have to be. You're like thrown into survival, right? And the soul is like, yes, this is so juicy. This is so painful. I'm learning so much from this. And when you can bring in the idea of this conscious way of looking at things, the reframe, that is so juicy for your soul too, because you are then becoming more aware and more conscious that maybe you decided to come into a body in this lifetime and to experience these yummy, juicy things because you knew that it was going to be so juicy. And right now, I got to tell you guys and gals, being on the earth, it's very juicy. It's very juicy right now. Look at all of the stuff that we're processing, especially since the pandemic kicked in. Look at how juicy things have been, so painful they've been, so just incredibly transformative they've been, and they will continue to be. And we have no idea what's ahead. And honestly, that's kind of exciting for the soul, because the soul is like, ooh, I can't wait to see what's ahead, right? So again, the observer perspective is, again, what I was saying in the very beginning. You are source. You are an expression of source in your physical body, having an experience that has a soul that is in love with really juicy experiences. Okay, so I love that this idea comes in, because for me, when I learned to take the observer perspective, again, it just shifts so much for me. It's like I did this one ceremony once where I literally died and came back. And when I was gone, I was feeling all of these things that I didn't like, but I had this blissful feeling connected to it at the same time. So it was this really, again, juicy experience of like feeling this like, oh my God, this is horrible, this is terrible. But then this beautiful bliss of like, oh my God, I am source, I am spirit. And when I was in this ceremony, I was seeing all of these things that happened in my life and why, and I kept saying over and over and over again, of course, of course, of course. And why was I saying that? Because I forgot. I forgot that I came here to experience all of it. I came here to experience the dark, the light, the gray, the shadow, the soul, the light, the beauty, the heaviness, all of it. And it was a really beautiful reminder, because when I came out of that ceremony, I literally was saying, of course, of course, of course, of course. And we forget, y'all. We forget how powerful we are. We forget how in tune and aligned we are with what is going on in our world. And not that we have power over everything, because power is truly an illusion. It's truly an illusion. Okay? Because this experience of life is way bigger than we can even fathom. And what's going on behind the scenes, meaning like through the eyes of Source and the creator being, we really can't even comprehend it, truly. Unless, we go back into Source and then we're like, oh yeah, I remember. Which is kind of, I got a little smidge of it in one of these ceremonies that I did, and I came back and I resourced that from time to time because it was so incredibly empowering. So I want to leave you with that little gem, and that, you did come here for a reason. You did come here to experience what's going on now. We all did. It's juicy. Our soul is in heaven with all of this juiciness that we're experiencing, because we're all deeply transforming something on a really big scale. And we have so much more to go and so much more to do, and it's very exciting. And if you add this idea of reframing, it can tap you more into that. Okay? So, okay. Yeah, I think I'm good. I was looking at some more notes that I wanted to share, but I feel like this is a good way to end. I ended with a really high note and a really beautiful way of looking at how we create our lives and how powerful we are. So I'm going to leave you with that. So if you're just joining, thank you. Welcome to Let's Get Spiritual. This is Fluidgirl for this segment that I'm offering you tonight. It's a once a month spiritual talk. And if any of you have any questions, this would be a time to pop them on, because we're going to be going into our meditation within the next few moments here. And again, I do have a 20-second delay. So if you know me personally, you can send me a text. If you want to send me something right away, I will receive it right now. Otherwise, we will be going into meditation in just a moment. So I'm just going to pause for one moment and put my headphones back on so I can listen to the music, because I'm going to put on a different track for us to listen to it, or to listen to for the meditation. So hang on one moment. I'm just going to turn my mic off so you're not hearing a bunch of clicking and popping. Yes, Deb. Special thoughts to think about for sure. And do you guys like that my hat is part of the green screen? Isn't it fun? Yes, I have green on my hat. It's a little elf hat. It's really fun. You have a little elf. Isn't it cute? And you guys see I have a nutcracker for you. A little elf. This is my daughter's little elf. I like to bring him in, so she's with us too. And then the beautiful little Santa. You can't really see his face. He's covered with a big mega beard. So I wanted to add a little holiday, my little holiday in the background. Hope that you guys are having a good holiday season. So if there's no more questions at this time, or comments, or what have you, let's go into the meditation. So if you want to go ahead and get comfortable, sit down, lay down. Okay, Erica's got a question. Hold on, y'all. That's a great question, Erica. Erica asked a question. Is there always a benefit to what happened, or is it okay just to let something go? Well, Erica, you know, it could be that is the benefit, that you learn to just let things go easier. Okay, that's happened for me for sure. You know, where I am experiencing something and it teaches me that, you know, I need to just let something go. Okay? And sometimes that is not easy in itself to do either, I just want to say. So thank you, Erica, for asking that question. She's a new follower on Twitch, so she wasn't able to put it in the comments, but she sent me a text, and I'm so glad I saw that. That was a great question, Erica. And, you know, if you want to explore it further, you can just think about it, you know, even if it's not what I had mentioned, that it's just about letting it go. It could be, you know, there could be something else, like a little gem in there for you. So you can sit with it a little bit longer. You may not have the answers right away, and that's okay. You know, these are things for you to explore. And like, you know, like I was saying earlier, is that, you know, we all have our own plans, and everyone is different, and it's all perfect at the end of the day. You know, it's like whatever we're experiencing, it's all perfect. And we're infinite beings. It's hard to grasp that in this 3D reality that is very limited. And again, what a juicy experience for a soul to forget how freaking powerful you are and unlimited you are, and then come to a reality where you have no power. If you think about that, that's pretty juicy. So sit with that one a little bit. So yeah, Erica, maybe you can journal about that. You know, sit with it and journal it. And again, it could be just what I said, like it just taught you how to let go. Okay, and if you did, good job. That's not an easy one. Okay, so if nobody else has any questions, oh, I'm so glad, Tawny. Tawny said, much food for thought. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. I'm so glad you received that, Tawny. And yeah, may it support you for the end of your year and also going into the next. I look forward to seeing more of you too. And Deb, oh, I'm so glad you're enjoying the backgrounds. I want it to be wintry and fun, a little holiday. I want to, like, you know, put my little hat on, have my little friends around, and my little nice holiday-ish, wintry experience in the background. So thank you for saying that. Okay, so let's go into our meditation, okay? So this is going to be a meditation, real quickly, that's going to support you with reframing. and taking a broader view, a broader perspective. And this is going to be a little, maybe like 10 minutes. We'll see how long it will go. But again, you can take this idea and condense it into a really short segment if you wish, okay? So I can explain that to you after we're done if you want. Okay, so everyone go ahead and start to get relaxed. Take some deep breaths. Oops, wrong song. Take some deep breaths. I'm going to switch my song real quick. It's going to be on lightly in the background, so if the music is too loud, again, please send me a text or a comment in the Twitch comments if it's too loud. The music, meaning. Okay, so everyone get relaxed, take some deep breaths, get comfy. You can sit or lie down. But if you're feeling really tired, I invite you not to lie down, because if you're really conscious during this meditation, you'll get more of the benefit out of it. Okay. And just for a quick moment, just scan your body from head to toe and notice if there's any particular area that's got a lot of tension. And just bring your awareness there and breathe into that specific spot. Bring breath to ease any tension or, maybe any emotions or, things that came up for you during this talk. And breathe into that specific area of the body. And with your breath and your intention, see if you can relax that area a little bit more. And again, scanning your body a little bit more. Maybe there's another area that's got some tension, some stress. And again, bring your awareness to it and just bring some breath there. And you can even imagine breathing out the tension. And then breathing in some gold light or just some relaxation, whatever your imagination is guiding you to do. So now bring your awareness up into the center of your head. This is the place where we visualize, where we imagine. It's the place of your clairvoyancy. And just bring your awareness into the specific spot in your head as we start to walk into this vision that I will be supporting you with. So, if there was a particular scenario that came up for you in this talk, or something that you want to visit that has been bothering you for quite some time, or something that happened to you today or recently, allow that scenario to come up in your mind. Maybe it's a situation where you felt really disempowered or even victimized, or that you had a response that you'd like to get curious on. And really see this scenario playing out. Just kind of watch it like you're watching a film. Be in it though. Feel the feelings. And again, just watching this situation. And be in your body in this situation. Be yourself and watch it. And then start to imagine your consciousness, even in this scenario, start to become the observer. And then start to rise above your body, out of your head, like your consciousness is coming out of your head, even while the scenario is still going on, feeling all the emotions, rise above it. Become the observer. And imagine looking down at this scenario through the eyes of the observer, and just take a look at yourself. What is actually happening to you? Or for you? What are you seeing is happening? Is something bigger going on there? Maybe you're noticing that you've been having a really rough past few weeks, and this was just something that came up for you. It was your response to how you've been feeling. And again, just making some mental notes and any realizations for yourself. And try and be really tender with yourself. Be in a state of forgiveness or understanding or compassion, and that is how the observer witnesses you, just through that idea. And even through the eyes of the observer in this scenario, if you were to see a benefit, what would the benefit be of this experience that you see happening in this particular circumstance? And take that in if you received anything. And if you didn't, that's okay too. You may receive it in another form later in your life or in your dreams. And now that you've gathered the information, now that you've received new insight, new perspective on this scenario, imagine that going into your heart and integrating. Dissolve the consciousness into your heart, into your soul, and then allow this image to now dissolve. And now, in this meditation state, we're going to tap into something broader, even bigger than ourselves personally. So now I want you to imagine a scenario or something that triggered for you during the pandemic. Maybe it was this year or last year, and just allow whatever's coming to you to come. Don't have any judgments, and maybe something random, and just let this scenario come up. And maybe this was a situation that was really upsetting, or you felt, again, very disempowered. So, what's happening? What do you see? Are you interacting with anyone? Are you getting information? Are you actually in the experience of being sick? Because again, this is the pandemic. And what are the feelings? How do you feel? And if you can, feel those emotions as much as you can. And then again, like we did before, start to rise your consciousness out of your body in this situation, above and out of your head, and now become the observer to yourself, to your situation, to your body. Become the observer as if you're looking down from a broader perspective. Rise above it. And what are you observing about the situation for yourself? If there's someone else there, what are you observing about that particular scenario? Or if it's in a group of people, what are you observing about the collective group of people that's going on there? What wisdom, are you gaining from this? What are you learning? And what is the benefit? And take a deep breath. Allow this wisdom to dissolve into your heart, awakening your soul and its memory of why it chose to be here at this time. And now we're going to go a little bit further. So staying in the idea of the pandemic, I want you to envision Earth right now. See our big, beautiful blue planet. Just witness her, see her. And observe the planet. And start to observe where the virus is, what it looks like. Maybe you're seeing colors. And again, this is you tapping into your psychic senses. So try not to overanalyze. Just witness and observe. Again, through the eyes of the observer. Where do you see the pandemic really hitting on the earth? Hitting hard? Where has it hit hard? And in this state of witnessing and observing without judgment, what are you observing about the collective experience of the pandemic itself on Earth? What are you picking up on? Why are humans experiencing this pandemic right now? And again, even though if there could be negative things that come up, try not to judge it, just be witness to it. And observe. And then what is the benefit of this experience for humans right now during this pandemic? What is the wisdom that humans are gaining? And what is the wisdom that you are gaining by witnessing and observing this concept of the pandemic on Earth and getting the downloads, if you've gotten any, from walking through this exercise? What wisdom, what benefit are you getting from being in this experience, viewing from the observer? And what are you feeling is a message for you, how you would, if you were not a part of Earth, how you would apply with this wisdom, how you would support the pandemic, how would you support humans right now? If you were to come in to the Earth and you saw this happening, how would you participate in moving forward with wisdom, with the benefit and a deeper understanding and witnessing on a broader scale what's happening during this pandemic and how you can support it to move forward and to end, and so a new, more, I would say, like empowered experience for humans right now? How would you support them? What would you do? And now go into your human experience of you being a part of this earth, and even coming back to the idea that you are witnessing from this far out, outside of the earth, and the wisdom that you may have gained from this meditation. What are you inspired and maybe guided to do at this time, going back into your body, and how you can move forward from here? wisdom with these downloads and this consciousness, start to filter your energy back down into your body and allow that image that we were just in to dissolve, cultivating this wisdom like a circuit moving through all of your energy centers down into your body and integrating more light and remembering aspects of your soul as to why it came during this time and what you can do to move through any hard experiences and, relating to the pandemic as well. How this can be supportive to you now moving forward. And again, taking some deep breaths, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Slowly coming back from this experience. Slowly coming back to your physical body. You can open your eyes. And if you were someone who really got a lot of downloads during this meditation, I just invite you to consider writing them down. Because we really went out there. And when you can go that far out and you receive downloads, it can be very powerful because we went outside the earth and saw a much bigger perspective and outlook as to what's been happening for you personally and us collectively as humans during the pandemic, Earth even. So if you feel inspired, I just invite you to write down what you received because it can be really juicy. And if you're just joining, this is Fluidgirl for Let's Get Spiritual, and we were talking about reframing your thoughts for 2021 going into 2022. We just finished up the meditation of how we can apply this concept into our lives. And once I am off, meaning like my live is not there anymore, this will be archived on Twitch for 2 weeks, so you can go back and listen to the talk and even do this meditation. And if anyone has any comments around what they experienced in the meditation, I would love to hear it. I used to teach quite a many a workshop and held quite a many a circle for ceremonies and things like this, and I did sound healings, did guided meditations, and one of the things that I loved was when people would share about what they experienced, what they saw. It was just so juicy to hear what people would experience, because in some cases it would be completely different from what I experienced, or I would be like, oh my God, I felt the same thing. I saw the same thing. It would be very validating. So if any of you do feel inspired, please post a comment. I would love to hear it. And if you don't feel comfortable, it's all good. But if you do feel willing to share and you want to share with me personally, and if you have my number, you can send me a text, or feel free to send me a message through email. And if you wanted to share about something that you experienced and you have some questions about it, or you actually want to get a reading with me, I am starting to book for January. I've been on a little bit of a time off because I have some relatives in town, and the end of the year has been quite a wallop, so many things going on. So if you want to tap in further and share with me around what happened, what you saw in your meditation, or you want to get some clarity in a reading, please reach out to me. I will type in my email right now if you want to connect. So hang on one moment while you guys still come back. Okay, I just posted it in the comments. It is grovecirclehealing@gmail.com. And if you want to visit my website, it is the same, grovecirclehealing.com. And my website basically just has a guided meditation on it right now. I'm going to be updating it, hopefully, fingers crossed, before the new year begins with all of the services that I'll be offering in 2022. So you can revisit that later, or you can just keep following me on Twitch, because every month I do a talk like this. It's called Let's Get Spiritual. We've done many different talks on, why I keep saying we is because I feel like we're a community. That's why I keep saying we. We've done talks. The last one I did was in October for Halloween. We talked about ghosts, which was so fun, and the other side, and talking with people on the other side. We've talked about the shadow. I've done some training for you all with your psychic ability. I've taught you how to run certain energies in your body. There's been a lot of different things that I've been sharing over the past, I think, 6 months that I've been doing this. It's been a lot of fun. So if you ever want to hire me for any classes, please, again, reach out. I'm happy to support people who want to learn. And I will also be teaching more, hopefully in person. I really miss teaching in person next year, and doing some more sound healings. And of course, if you like music, I also am a DJ. It's another form of how I do sound healing. So yeah, please come. My next fluidity set, is what I call them, will be, if not this week, I might do a little pop-up. It will probably be next week. So be on the lookout for that. If you're a follower of mine, wonderful, you'll get a notification. Or if you're not a follower, just smash follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/Fluidgirl. If you're listening to this on an archive or on YouTube, then you can follow me there and keep updated. So no one seems to be posting any comments around what they experienced during their meditation, which is wonderful. That's great. It's personal. Or maybe you were just listening to the meditation and you weren't actually doing it, which is great too. Thank you all for taking your time and spending time with me tonight. And yeah, it's always such a gift to be able to offer this work, and oh, I love the snow in the background, for you to be with me tonight. And I hope that you all received benefit from this talk. And please join me again next month. And if you have a topic that you want me to share that you're curious about, please send me an email, a text, comment. Let me know what you want to learn. A few people mentioned some stuff last time that I covered. We talked about boundaries, which was a really good one. So yeah, there's lots of things we can talk about. And if there's something that you want to learn in particular, I have an incredible amount of experience, and I've done an incredible amount of workshops. Let me know. I'm happy to share. And if you want to leave me a tip, please do. It's at Fluidgirl, at Fluidgirl on Venmo. I take tips, but again, this is free. There's no pressure. But if you're feeling in the holiday spirit, you want to share, I will happily receive. But again, no pressure. And I look forward to seeing you all for another Let's Get Spiritual in about a month. I'll keep you posted on that. And I look forward to just checking on you guys, and just guys and gals, to see how you're doing. And if you feel so inspired, please come join me for one of my Fluidity DJ sets. They're a lot of fun. So happy holidays, everyone. And thank you for your courageousness to listen to this, to integrate it as much as you can. And again, if you're listening to this on a pre-recorded version, thank you. You can still send me an email if anything came up for you, if you want, to have a healing, or, what have you. You have my email. It's grovecirclehealing@gmail.com. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all in 2022. I can't believe it's already 2022, end of 2021, going into 2022. Oh my God, this year flew. Anyway, lots of love to you all. May you all see the benefit of whatever is happening for you. And I'm signing off. And I will see you in a month. If I don't see you, then I will see you on Fluidity. And if you know me in person, I'll see you in person hopefully soon. Mwah. Happy holidays, everyone. And see you on the other side.